Hello everyone, my name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is December 23rd, 2024, and Bitcoin is literally teetering on the edge of collapse, okay? But today's video is not going to be predominantly about Bitcoin. I want to talk about altcoins, right? Obviously, this channel is focused in on Bitcoin, the king coin, and it helps us when we're looking at altcoins because whatever Bitcoin does, altcoins typically follow in some way, shape, or form. But I want to specifically look at what altcoins are doing and how they will be affected by what is likely going to be a large crash in the Bitcoin price. So if that all sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get into it. Okay, what you're looking at right now is the right shoulder of a larger head and shoulders bearish reversal pattern in Bitcoin, okay? I've shown you this chart so many times, and I've shown it to you in so many ways, and that's kind of to me, the beauty in technical analysis. It doesn't really matter how you approach it. Good technical analysis is good technical analysis, whether you're a Wyckoff trader, whether you're a Gann trader, whether you're an Elliott wave trader, whether you're a momentum and pattern trader. A good trader typically good traders come to the same conclusions. You come to similar conclusions, right? In a bearish market, you see bearish signals and you trade for bearishness and vice versa. I still don't know how so many big accounts are calling for bounces here. I mean, that just kind of blows my mind because a lot of these big accounts were around when I got started, or we started around the same time. So, I mean, after all this time, you still can't read that. I mean, it kind of still, I'm shocked. I'm shocked. But I think it's quite clear. I don't think it's much of a discussion. I mean, obviously everybody's always going to have a different opinion, but I want to say it's quite obvious that Bitcoin is bearish, and it's not if, but when and how much. We talked about that in the previous video, so I'm going to shortly just recap it, right? So today I'm showing you this head and shoulders bearish reversal pattern because it's what we have clearly on our chart. And what's interesting is you see these and they're recursive. You see them and they form a fractal. So we saw the one up here, which broke down, which gave us one up here, which broke down, right? I showed you this one yesterday on a smaller time frame. And this is what you typically see in bearish patterns, in trends, okay? So in a bearish trend, you're going to see a small time frame head and shoulders bearish reversal pattern leading into another head and shoulders bearish reversal pattern, which leads into an even bigger bearish head and shoulders bearish reversal pattern. That's exactly what we see. And flip it for a bullish pattern. You're going to see small time frame inverse head and shoulders leading into another small time frame inverse head and shoulders, leading into a larger small time frame inverse head and shoulders. So that is just another way to look at it. Okay? And how do you take the targets of these things? You identify your neckline. That's the first thing you do. And then you take the height of the head, so from the base or neckline to the tallest point on the head, and you superimpose it from the site of breakout or breakdown, and that should give you roughly your target. So this is actually what we're getting here. And our target again is 76.4, or the midline of this multi-year or 2-year specifically, 2-year channel that Bitcoin's been in. So again, that's what we call confluence. It's another way of analyzing the charts, yet arriving at the same conclusions, right? Same conclusion is reached, that the breakdown of Bitcoin will yield this initial target of around 76.4. So that's what I'm seeing on Bitcoin's price. Nothing's changed. And last point I want to make is that these things sometimes take time. More often than not. So just speaking of this distribution pattern, okay? When you're talking about, well, let's be more specific. So when you talk about a top, you look at it and you say, well, Dean, you've been talking about this breaking down for quite some time. That is all over your channel. I say yes, because it takes time to distribute shares. It takes time to distribute tokens. That's the whole idea of Wyckoff distribution. It takes time. But the longer it proceeds, the more clear it is, and the more wiser you have to be to de-risk, to get out of the way. Because once this is finished, this is slow, this is kind of choppy. The character of this price action here is up and down and up and down and up and down. Once this is finished and shares, tokens are actually starting to distribute in earnest, it flies down. Okay, so you spend 30 days pretty much preparing this, and then this can happen in 15 minutes or less. That's the idea of a top. And this is something I learned over time, just trading the markets, analyzing the markets. That move takes absolutely no time. The preparation of that move takes all the time. That's what you typically see in markets, and you can flip it. Before you make a big move to the upside, you typically precede that with a lot of accumulation, a long-standing, very boring, choppy, slow, sideways, almost. It's very, very like boring sideways price action. But then when it starts moving, it really starts moving. So don't get lulled into a sense of security. Like, this is a very dangerous pattern, extremely dangerous. And some people are doing crazy things. Like there's one guy, he's an influencer. He's got a million or I think $1.11 million position or something. He's something crazy. And he just keeps adding to it. And he wants to save Bitcoin for Christmas. It's absolutely insane. And he just buys, I don't know where he's getting this money, but I mean, it's a massive position, and his entries are sloppy as all hell. And just looking at his trade that he shares, his Bybit trade, he's more likely than not going to get liquidated if this target hits. Because I think his liquidation point is in the early 80s or 82, 83, something like that. In any case, just be very careful, please. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Just, this is what you see. This is how the markets work. This tends to happen. And when this will happen, exactly when, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Because this is capricious, unpredictable, corrective price action going into very predictable, clean, impulsive price action. That's where we make money. This is where we prepare to make money. That's my TED Talk on that. Okay, now let's talk about altcoins, because most of you are probably trading altcoins like myself, and we're in positions, and I talked about this. I posted about it a few moments ago, and it is, people are misreading the hell out of this. They're going and pulling up this total three. Total three, by the way, is all the assets in crypto minus Bitcoin and minus Ethereum, the two largest market caps in crypto. Okay, and they're pulling this up, and they're seeing it as, okay, this is gonna just go this way. And I mean, that's chart illiteracy. That's what I call chart illiteracy. Okay, very simply, and the principles are consistent, and this is quite simple. When you look at this chart, the first thing you should see is this inverse head and shoulders bullish reversal pattern. That's the first thing you should see. You should see that this inverse head and shoulders bullish reversal pattern broke out to the upside, creating this breakout. Okay? That's the first thing you should see. And I think it's quite clear. This is on the weekly time frame. If you go on the daily time frame or any smaller time frames, it's even more clear. You have a clear neckline here. Okay? A clear neckline here. The principles are what? That if you've experienced long-standing support or long-standing resistance, in this case it's long-standing resistance, you must, upon breaking that support or resistance, retest it. You have to flip it. It's called an RS flip or an SR flip. This is a basic principle in technical analysis, and it's interesting because I learned this from one of the big accounts when I first started, and that big account is trading this long, okay? And I want to make 2 points about this. I don't think Sheldon the Sniper all of a sudden forgot his principles of trading, okay? I don't think he forgot. But he's currently down like 700K on his portfolio. And I'm not saying this to disparage him at all. He's a great guy. I learned a lot from him when I first started. I'm saying this to prove a point. Trading is 98% psychological discipline. Because Sheldon is down so much, for his well-being, for his self-preservation, psychologically, he's blinded himself to the obvious retest. It's not that he doesn't intellectually know about RS flips or SR flips. It's that he doesn't want to see it. And as seasoned a trader, as many chart hours as he has, right? He's just not seeing it because he doesn't want to. It hurts. So please understand that when you're trading and you're exposed and the market's against you, you're likely to do foolish things because you just don't want to look at what's obvious. If you know, you may do foolish things because you may not want to look at what's obvious. Maybe your read is correct, but if it's not, you're not going to be able to see it. You literally have blinders. This is what makes trading so difficult. You can know all the stuff intellectually. You can be an encyclopedia. You can have encyclopedic knowledge of all of these principles and still not apply them once you insert the element of having a dog in the race. You know, you're no longer objective. You're down, or you really want to win for some reason. You have an emotional tie to any particular market movement. You're not going to see the opposite end. It's really hard to see. So I think this is what's going on. Frankly, a lot of the large accounts who are calling for this altcoin move aren't seeing the obvious retest of, again, look at this. This inverse head and shoulders bullish reversal pattern was 144 days. It's not a 2-day thing. It's not a 5-hour thing. 144 days. This was resistance for altcoins. 144 days. And you clearly have, here, let's do it this way. You clearly have the makings of an inverse head and shoulders. Right? I mean, it's not hard to read, but again, it's not because it's hard to read. It's because once you're invested in a certain way, you don't want to see it. Okay? So I really think that's helpful to understand about trading. And next time you're in a trade and you're underwater, or you really have an emotional tie to a certain outcome, remember that and try to be conscious of it. And the consciousness, being able to be aware of that, may help you see what you weren't heretofore able to see because of your emotional investment in the trade going in a particular way. I think that is one of the most important things I've learned in 8 years trading. Okay, so 144 days, right? And again, this is a simple read. It's not rocket science. 144 days, you break out, you top out. And where do you top out? Quite clearly at the next logical resistance. If you zoom out, you top out right here. So this is resistance. You're at resistance. You come up. What's the next logical move? You hit resistance, you fail at resistance, you come back down, retest 144 days as support. So previous resistance, new support, and then you go and start your alt season. Does that make sense? It's not that difficult to read. It's not that difficult to read. Look at it on smaller time frames. It makes even more sense. Okay? And again, another thing that has people confused about this is that they're convinced that these are the beginning moves of a bull market, right? That whole thing, and this is a great point. One idea can block the sun, just like a fingertip can block the sun. As massive as the sun is, one small fingertip can block the sun, and that fingertip in this example, in this analogy, represents an idea. And that idea is the bull market has started. Because I saw some up and to the right positive price action, the bull market has started. Even though altcoins are bleeding, even though the price action is weak, even though nothing has really happened except for a few movers here and there, Ethereum, the king altcoin, hasn't done much of anything. People are married. They're invested in that idea and they don't even examine it. So please, one of the things that have helped me be the best version of myself as an analyst and not really care what other people say, and typically able to outread most other analysts, is that I question everything. The idea that we're not in a bull market is almost not, like, it's not even on the table for most analysts. They won't even, whether they're Elliotticians or Gann traders or pattern, it doesn't matter. That idea isn't even considered. So once you think you're in a bear market, something like this doesn't make sense. So you don't even look at it. Again, I want you to understand, nothing I'm saying is complicated. What's complicated are concepts that are accepted without examination. And by virtue of accepting these things, all of these simple things are ignored. And once you free yourself of assumptions of this has to be like this, that has to be like that, it's simple, because it's just simple principles. This is just a flip of previous resistance as new support. You got your inverse head and shoulders of 144 days, broke out, comes back, retest as previous support, or previous resistance is new support, consolidate a bit mid-Jan, boom. Simple ass read. And that's life-changing. This one trade right now, that if most people can make it, if they can sell here or anywhere close to here, buy back here, you can change lives. You can change your life. You can change your whole generation, a bloodline's life, right? That's a generational money-making trade. But most people can't make it because of all of these assumptions. So I hope this is helpful. I don't have a school or anything like that or a course to sell. But this is some of the most important things I've learned in the past 8 years of trading and charting. Like, really examine everything. Obviously, don't overthink everything, but examine everything and don't take anything for granted. Trust yourself and keep it simple. The simple principles: flipping previous resistance is new support, always happen. It doesn't matter. It's time frame agnostic. Yeah, stuff like that. I'm just gonna keep it at that. So that's what I see for altcoins. And if you measure that move out, so in aggregate, you're gonna get from here about a 30% move down. Okay, a lot of the altcoins I'm trading are probably gonna move 45%. At least 45% in this first move down. But some may move less, some may move more. So that's what I'm seeing with altcoins. Hope this was helpful. Hope this was useful. Like, share, and subscribe if you got value. Consider buying me a coffee either by Venmo or Cash App, or sending me Litecoin with the pinned comment below. And be aware that I only have a few spots left on my crypto portfolio consultation service, because I meet one-on-one with you all for up to 2 hours per month, and I give advice on up to 5 assets, how to balance your portfolio, where to enter trades, where to exit trades, and that's a monthly service. It's $150 a month, and you can order that on my Buy Me a Coffee website. I start taking appointments again on January 2nd. So all my current clients are already booked, and we're gonna maximize profits in this coming board. So guys, thank you, and I'll see you next time too. Bye.